So today I'm going to be giving an updated review on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. This is a phenomenal Android tablet that has so much hype, and it's had a lot of that hype. But that hype has died down a little bit, and now, as I've been using this device for quite a while, I can let you know my updated thoughts. So with all that being said, let's get right into it, and let's talk about this Tab S9 Ultra and how good it really is. So a lot of you know I'm in an updated studio, so what better time to give this updated review? Thank you for joining me here on Android Digest, and we've seen a lot of changes over time, haven't we? We've seen these new iPads come on the scene, and we've seen all the hype with tandem OLED. A lot of you might be wondering, is it actually worth getting something like the Tab S9 Ultra? And what's really changed? Well, one of the things that's really changed, and it's really changed a lot of people's mind about this device, is the price, of course. Because if you look at the retail price, this device did retail at $1,199, almost $1,200. But good news, we've seen a lot of price drops on this. I've seen it a little bit closer to $1,000 now. So we're seeing around $150 or even $200 price drops on the Tab S9 Ultra. But not only are we seeing that, but we are seeing some great open box deals. So at Best Buy, for example, at least as of today making this video, they have an open box model in excellent condition for $815. And that is so much better than the $1,200 price tag. And that's why it's so important to buy a tablet at the right time and for the right deal. A lot of these open box models now, they're just 15 days old or 20 days old. They're just a quick return. So there are a lot of great deals out there. Again, check the links in the description. I think that does really change the math when we're talking about these devices because they were way too expensive. But for some of you who are looking for a very premium device, it is a little bit more feasible now with a lot of these price drops. Now, another thing, of course, we need to talk about is the value of that price, because if you look at the design, you're gonna notice that this device does come with an S Pen. Of course, it's a Bluetooth S Pen that does charge on the back of the device, but if you look at those iPads out there, they're not going to come with an S Pen. This also has an SD card slot, and a lot of you know to get that extra storage on an Apple iPad, they're going to really rake you over the coals and really charge you more and more and more. But if you want to get a Samsung tablet like this, you could buy an SD card, expand your storage for a much cheaper price. And again, that is very significant for you value hunters. The speakers on this, of course, are very good. So I love the design. And if you're wanting a very thin tablet, you don't have to go to an iPad to get a thin tablet. This huge device is actually very thin, and it's actually fairly lightweight when you consider the size of it. Now, some of you are going to notice a notch. There is a little bit of a notch on the front, and that might be a deal breaker for you. If it is, don't worry, the Tab S9 Plus does not have a notch, and to be honest, that's a little bit more comparable to all of those iPads anyway, because it's a similar size at 12.4 inches, and it's gonna have almost all of the features that this device has anyway. And the fingerprint sensor, I do not believe it's ultrasonic, but it is still optical, and it's working good. It is actually working very quickly and accurately, even with a tempered glass, so that's not a problem at all. But the thing that really sets this device apart, it's going to be the display, and the display size in particular. And a lot of people out there, I know they're comparing iPads to this device, and they're saying, ooh, look at the iPads, and they compare it to that S9 Ultra. But we have to remember, the S9 Ultra is a much larger device, and when you're looking at tablets, you're often going to pay for screen size. That's why the 13-inch models are often more expensive than the 11-inch models. Just like whenever you look at the Tab S9, it's a lot cheaper. You could find that normally around $650 now, brand new. Well, the Tab S9 Plus is gonna be a little more expensive than that. So we need to compare the S9 Plus with those iPads. And the S9 Ultra is just very unique because there's no iPad that has a 14.6-inch screen. That is really what sets this device apart. If you want a device that's more portable, then you go with the Tab S9 or you go with the Tab S9 Plus. So the big thing that we really have to focus on here, it's going to be the display size. And you might wonder how my time has been with it. And overall, it's exactly what you would expect. It's a little bit mixed. On one end, I love having a screen size this large. It's amazing. The display is so good. The AMOLED is absolutely gorgeous. I get it. The newer iPads are newer. So that means that newer iPad might have have a little bit of an edge over this S9 Ultra. I do get that, but it will not have much of an edge, and some of you are going to prefer the larger screen size anyway, and this OLED screen is absolutely bonkers. It looks incredible when you're watching it or using it for entertainment, when you're watching Disney, or when you're just watching some random stuff on YouTube that I typically put in my B-roll here. Like, it's going to look incredible. I love the display. Now, the screen size though, it does mean that you're going to have larger accessories. It means the device is larger and it's going to be a little bit heavier. On one end, it's great for productivity if you want to get a lot of good productive work done, or if you want to watch a movie and you're just putting it on your kitchen counter. A lot of you know, having a larger TV, it does make a difference. Having a little mini TV is worse. So having a large AMOLED screen on your counter, it's going to make watching movies or using it for entertainment, it's going to make it a lot nicer. But on the other hand, you do have to consider that sometimes it's going to feel a little bit bulky to carry around. Some of you won't care and you'll say, who cares? It doesn't matter. But we see a lot of these laptops now that are coming out, and they are extremely lightweight. But whenever you factor in a keyboard case and whenever you add it to this, it is going to add a little bit more bulk. So some of you have to ask yourself, do you really want that extra screen size? It's so nice for entertainment, it's amazing for drawing, it's amazing for productivity, but some of you aren't looking for all of that. Some of you just want that power, but you want it in a more portable form factor. The Tab S9 Plus is a great middle ground for that because it is still large enough to get some good work done, but it is still more portable. The Tab S9, on the other hand, is not really as much for productivity. Like, you can get productive on the Tab S9, but it's really meant for primarily entertainment and as a secondary device browsing. But the keyboard accessories, for example, on that, they're gonna have smaller keys, of course, because it's fitting a smaller device. So the Tab S9 is not the productivity monster that you want if you're really trying to get a ton of work done. You're gonna need something like the Plus or the Ultra. And whenever you want a tablet, a lot of people want portability, and this device is not quite as portable. On the other hand, some people are getting used to that. They don't think it's a big deal. After all, the tablet is super thin. It is still fairly lightweight. And whenever you're using it for productivity, it's incredible. So it really comes down to the person and whoever's watching this. If you're someone who wants the biggest screen out and you really, really want that, then yes, you're gonna want this Tab S9 Ultra. And even though the screen is slightly worse maybe than the newer iPads, maybe by this much, I do get that. Well, on the other hand, you're looking at a fraction of the price here because you're gonna get a larger screen. And remember, there is no alternative on iPad that has this large of a screen, right? And if you compare the Tab S9 Plus and you compare that price to these newer iPads, you're going to save hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting the Tab S9 Plus, and you get the S Pen in the box. That is very, very significant. I'm sure a lot of accessories are gonna be a little bit cheaper, so that is amazing. So not only are you getting that value, even if you pay a little bit more for the Tab S9 Ultra, well, then you're getting the screen size that you don't get on those iPads. So you're going to get a much better value here on the Android side with these Galaxy tablets because they have been out. You're seeing a lot of sales and open box deals. You are going to get a much better value on the Samsung side. And sometimes you're gonna get more things out there that help you with productivity, like Samsung Dex. Samsung Dex is terrific for productivity, of course, and they do have a new Samsung Dex now. So that is one of the things that has changed over time. We have this new Dex and we have the classic Dex. Well, the new Dex is basically just like your normal Android environment, but it does have pop-up windows, right? And that's about it. Now, the classic Dex, of course, is almost like a laptop environment, and it just looks a little more like Windows or something like that. And a lot of people do prefer that. So you can go in the settings and change that. And again, the big thing with this device is it's gonna be great for those users who wanna get productive. And whenever you are getting productive, one thing you're gonna need is some great accessories. Now, Samsung, their book cover keyboard, it's very good, but I don't think it's $350 good, right? Like, whenever I'm using it, it is still a little bit flimsy. Now, they make it flimsy so that it could be a little more portable, and I do get that, but I did have some occasional bugs. If I'm typing the word you, Y-O-U, I type it really quick. Well, it always seems to miss the U, and for some reason, all of Samsung's book cover keyboards seem to have that same issue. I don't know why. I would have minor bugs on occasion, and the touchpad sometimes was a little bit wonky, and I just don't accept that for $350. The book cover keyboard, the $350 one, it is backlit, and I do really like that. I like how it's detachable. So there's a lot of things I like about it, and I do think for some of you out there, if you find that book cover keyboard on sale, it might be worth it to some of you. But for me, actually, my preferred keyboard cover actually comes from Dexnor. So they are actually sponsoring this video. Thank you, Dexnor. And the reason why I personally prefer it is not just because of a sponsorship. Genuinely, I do prefer it, for one, because of the price. If you look at the price on the market right now, you're going to spend much less on the Dexnor keyboard cover, but you're still going to get a lot of similar features. For one, you get this kickstand that is on the back of the tablet, and this kickstand will allow you to get a ton of different positions. And whenever you look at the keyboard cover, it actually has some extra features that you're not going to find on Samsung. For example, this does use Bluetooth. So it does still magnetically attach to the bottom of the tablet, but it does use Bluetooth, which means if you ever want to prop up your tablet somewhere and use your tablet like at a nicer position for your neck, right? Maybe you want to prop it up on some books, you could still use this Dexnor keyboard cover and actually use it and type away and have the keyboard cover not even near the tablet. So that is really cool. You also get a little bit of a sturdier keyboard case here with Dexnor. So it is a little bit sturdier than you're going to find on Samsung's model. And it does have backlighting, and the backlighting comes in several different colors. Now, one thing I'm not in love with, I don't love the touchpad here. The touchpad isn't perfect, but one thing you could do if you don't like it, you actually just click the function key and the space bar. You could actually turn off the touchpad, and then you could use a nice Bluetooth mouse. And that will really allow you to have all of this bottom part of this keyboard to really rest your palms. So overall, I really do love this Dexnor keyboard cover. Thank you so much, Dexnor, for sponsoring this video. And check out those links. If you do want to buy one, check the links in the description. I will have those links available so you could purchase one for yourself at a much cheaper price compared to Samsung's book cover keyboard. With all that being said, let's get right back to the video and let's talk about the Tab S9 Ultra. So if we go back to the Tab S9 Ultra, one thing that really stands out is having that stylus. Again, I can't say enough how nice it is having it in the box with you. Remember, if you're buying like an Apple Pencil for an iPad or something like that, that extra price is very significant. So having it come in the box is going to be a nice savings for you if you are looking for a tablet. So I love the pen experience. I love the stylus. The 120 Hz display, of course, does help make that a good experience. And the battery life also is actually pretty good on this tablet. Now, it is 11,200 milliamps, and I will say the processor is actually fairly efficient too. That does help with battery life. It is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but it's specifically designed for Galaxy, so that does help with battery life. I will say it does depend on what you're doing. If you're gaming a lot, the battery life will definitely go down, but you should get around 7 or 8 hours of screen on time, depending on what you're doing. And the standby time is very good. You might even get 9 or 10 hours. Again, it just depends on the person. But my battery life has been fairly good whenever I compare it to other tablets, but it will be pretty similar, I'll say, to the Tab S9 or the Tab S9 Plus. A bigger screen does actually draw more power, but a bigger battery does help with that. Now, one other thing I want to mention is there is still great software support with this device. Again, Samsung will be supporting this device for years to come. So that's why I think it's actually a good value to buy now, because you are going to get very good support with it. But also, if you are out there and if you're looking at other features, remember, Samsung did drop a bunch of AI features. They are continuing to drop more software features day by day with One UI updates. So now we have Circle to Search. We have a lot of these things that we've been waiting for, and you get that on a very nice Samsung Galaxy tablet. So I'm very impressed so far with how it's held up. Sure, if you don't have a screen protector on it, you might notice some scratching, especially if you're a little hard on it. And that is understandable. Some people are very hard on their devices and they do end up getting scratched up a little bit. But outside of some wear and tear, you're going to notice the model I have is actually very good. It's actually held up well, and it's very quick, even though the performance isn't quite up to something like an iPad. I do understand that, right? You're still going to get amazing performance, and it does have 12 gigabytes of RAM in the base model. And whenever I'm going app to app, it's flying through pretty much everything. Like, it is flying through, and a lot of people say, well, it's not an M4 processor. I completely get that, right? We aren't getting M4 here. We are getting something that works well on Android, but what you're getting, even though it doesn't benchmark anywhere close to something like an M4 or even an M3 processor from Apple, what you are getting is a device that flies through pretty much everything you would do on a tablet anyway. So if I compare this to something like the latest iPads, yeah, the latest iPads might have a screen that's 10% better, and you might find out that the performance, well, yeah, it might be 30% better or 40%, but it's only gonna feel about 5% better because you're not gonna take advantage of any of that power anyway because you're just using a tablet, right? And on a tablet, when you're opening up tablet programs, you're not going to use all of that power. On this device, I'm flying through almost everything that I'm doing. So if it feels lightning fast in everything that I'm doing, if I have 12 gigs of RAM in the base model, and I have great performance, I have a gorgeous OLED display, I'm only taking a 5 or 10% hit compared to that newest iPad. But if you look at the price, and if you look at the value, this comes with an S Pen. This comes with a larger screen. And if you don't care about the larger screen, you could get almost all the same features in the Tab S9 Plus, and then you'll save hundreds and hundreds over these latest iPads. So why not save some money and get almost all of the same features? There are so many reasons to go with the Galaxy Tab. So if you want a great value right now, I will readily admit, if you want the largest tablet and the best tablet of this size, of course this is gonna be it. But if you want the best tablet out and you don't care about getting a 14.6-inch device, I will readily admit that the newest 13-inch iPad is probably the best tablet that you could buy right now. However, especially for us Android people, well, that doesn't matter much. And especially for those of us who want a value, if we want a really good value and we don't want to have to buy the pen separately, we don't want to have to pay a ton of extra money for storage, and you don't want to pay all that extra money for the device itself when you're getting 90% of what you'd get in an iPad here. So I really love Android a little bit more. I love the OS more, of course, because I'm Android Digest, but I love the value. So I think iPads are great, and especially if you're in that Apple ecosystem, it's gonna be amazing for you. The Tab S9 Ultra is in a league of its own. There's no tablet that has this type of size. There's no tablet that has this type of value on the high end, at least whenever you compare it to Apple. Whenever you look at the size, whenever you look at the software, this has water resistance, which you don't get in those Apple iPads. So I absolutely love the Tab S9 Ultra. I think it's definitely worth it, but should you buy it? Well, if you're wanting a value, yeah, it's a great value, but some of you might not want to spend $700, $800, $900, or $1,000 on a tablet. And if that's not you, maybe look towards those FE models, or look to the Tab S8, the Tab S8 Plus, or Tab S8 Ultra. There's a lot of great deals on devices like that, especially on the used market. But for some of you, you're just going to be looking between the S9, the S9 Plus, and the S9 Ultra. And that is going to always come down to price and screen size. If you're someone who wants more productivity, you're gonna lean towards the S9 Plus and the S9 Ultra. And at that point, the question is, do I want the largest device, or do I want the device that's more portable, but it's still pretty large? And do I wanna save a little bit of money, which the S9 Plus does? But if you want the biggest screen, you want the biggest canvas, you want something incredible on Android, a great Android tablet that works great as a secondary monitor, it works great with Windows, it has some great Windows integration, I think you're gonna get a tremendous device with this. And it's so good for productivity, especially if you have the right tools. But yeah, I love it. Hopefully this video does help you out. Hopefully you like a little bit of this new studio here, just painted it up a little bit, switched some things around. So please give me a like on my channel, give me a sub, that would mean a ton if you are interested in this type of content. I talk a lot about Galaxy tablets. And also, check out my channel for some more stuff because I'm gonna be talking about the Lenovo P12. I'm gonna review that soon. I'm gonna be giving an updated review on the Tab S9 and the Tab A9 Plus. And a lot of stuff is coming up, so please stay tuned to my channel. I really hope you have a great day, and I really, really hope you enjoy your week.